Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Wednesday morning. Massive show to bring you guys today, but before we do that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. On the show today, we're going to be reacting to a story that's just broke saying that InEOS are expecting, or have the person who's put this story out is expecting, or has been told that InEOS are going to make what is being quoted as brutal changes at Manchester United. So, of course, we'll be going into depth about that. We'll also be reacting to Manchester United's latest quarterly reports, which the headline is Manchester United have made record revenue in the last quarter. The last quarter in 2023, that is. So we'll be talking about that. Also talking about a new training ground. It looks like Carrington is going to be got rid of, and we're going to build a brand new training ground. Lots and lots to get into, guys. There really, really is. And we also have, obviously, all of your usual transfer news, players coming in, players coming out, all of that usual good stuff. As always, I invite you to have your say in the comment section. Let me know how you're feeling at the moment about Manchester United. What business should we do in the window? Who do you think should go? Who do you think should sell? What changes do you want InEOS to make? Just, have your say. I always read through all the comments. So get in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. And I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say once the video is obviously gone live. Let's start off with this story about brutal changes then, because I think that this morning when I woke up was what really, really caught my attention. So this is coming out from Samuel Luckhurst, who is, of course, the Manchester United correspondent for the Manchester Evening News. Somebody who I would say is, I don't know if I'd say he's close to the club anymore because, obviously recently he got banned from the press conference, didn't he? I don't know if anybody remembers that, but Erik ten Hag banned a few journalists from the press conference, and Samuel Luckhurst was one of them. But he has been very close to the club over the years and, does get his information from within the Manchester United hierarchy. And the story that he's reporting this morning is that apparently he's been told that InEOS are expected to make brutal changes at Manchester United. Now, at this point, obviously, what those changes are remain to be seen. And if you want my opinion, those are all just words. Okay? It's the headline on the Manchester Evening News today. It says, Sir Dave Brailsford is meeting the former Manchester United staff as brutal changes are planned. It says changes are planned as Man United... Sorry, let me start again. Changes are planned at Manchester United as InEOS to prepare to assume the football control at the club. It says Sir Dave Brailsford is sounding out former staff at Manchester United as the InEOS group prepares to make sweeping changes at the club. Brailsford, the InEOS sporting director, is conducting thorough due diligence, and a source has suggested the changes at Man United could be brutal. It says United sources say Brailsford has been attending meetings this month to gauge the performance challenge at United, who haven't won a title in 12 years. It says InEOS do plan on hiring a sporting director and a head of recruitment. The football director, John Murtagh, wants to remain at the club. I mean, that would be a big mistake for me personally. It says a club source said in December it was in the balance as to whether Murtagh stays at United or ends his decade-long association with the club. Now, in relation to these brutal changes, I don't think it's as black and white as saying a manager, a player. I think it's also got to be backroom staff. I mean, I don't want to single people out, but I'm going to do it anyway. The guy who is our set-piece coach at Manchester United, I mean... he was brought in from... Where was he brought in from? Let me have a quick look. But the point I'm trying to make here is, right, I don't remember the last time we scored from a corner. I don't remember the last time we scored from a free kick. And every single game we seem to concede from a corner or a set piece. The guy's name's Eric Ramsey. Our set pieces are absolutely terrible. Absolutely awful. This guy's been there since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was there. I think he's been there even longer than that. And we've never been good at set pieces. We've never been good at corners. So how do people like this still have jobs at Manchester United? And I can see why this brutal changes headline's being put out there. Because if I'm InEOS, I'm not saying, all right, sack the manager and we'll be fine. I don't believe that. I think there's so many other people behind the scenes that probably need to be got rid of, I mean, even Darren Fletcher, is the head of performance or something? He's not the best in class. I'm sorry. I know he played for the club before, but it was his first job in football, and he's working for Manchester United. He was on the bench next to Ollie throughout all of Ollie's time at the club, and he doesn't have the experience to do that. So I welcome these brutal changes. Obviously, I will handle it with a pinch of salt. we'll wait and see what happens. Actions are louder than words at the end of the day. Like that's the black and white of it. But for me, lots and lots of changes need to happen at Manchester United. And I think this brutal change headline is definitely welcomed. But let me know in the comment section, guys, what changes would you like to see at Manchester United? And don't just say, get rid of Erik ten Hag, because we need way more than that. So, give me a bit of context. Maybe we need new recruiters. Maybe we need new physios. I mean, our injury record is appalling. Should we not be looking at that? Exploring why, at one point this season, we had like 10 first-team players missing for months. Like, that's not normal. It really, really isn't. Tottenham have only just started getting injuries and everyone's going on and on and on and on about it. But when it's Man United and we've got 10 players missing, which we did for a long period of time, no one seems to talk about it. And I think that we need to look at that. Why are we getting so many injuries? Lumen says, Kieran, I want Erik ten Hag out, not because of the club situation, but because he isn't a good manager. I just think this is a little bit of a loaded question. Did you think he was a good manager 6 months ago when he won the League Cup, finished third and got to an FA Cup final? Did you? Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you were saying we've got the best manager in the world. Pep Guardiola's going to fall and Erik ten Hag's going to take us to new heights. Like, I think people change their opinions quite quickly in football, and that's fine. I get it. It's something that you're very passionate about. It's something that you are emotionally attached to. And when, you feel like the team isn't performing and you spend your time, money going to games, buying shirts, whatever it is you might do, you feel hard done by, don't you? And I understand that. But I think we have to look at it in a bit of a bigger picture here. I think if we hadn't have achieved what he did last season, I think he would have been sacked by now, personally, this season. But, last season, to finish third, win the League Cup, and get to a final of an FA Cup, that was beyond my wildest dreams, to be honest. It was beyond my wildest expectations. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Maybe you think that, 6 months is long enough. He should go. Like, that's up to you. But for me, yeah. Ed says set pieces need work. Yes, I agree. So obviously, brutal changes apparently coming from InEOS. As I said, we'll wait and see what happens. We'll talk through all of these changes as and when they happen. On to the next bit is Manchester United have just released their first report. Sorry, it was a report for Q4 2023. So it would be September to December 2023. And the headline is that Manchester United have made record revenue, which is absolutely obviously good for the Glazers. I read through it a little bit this morning and there's all sorts of different things. It's because of ticket sales. A large part of it is because of all of the memberships that people have. Apparently we have the most members who support, who subscribe to Manchester United than any other team in world football, which is crazy. If you want to buy a ticket to go to a United game, for anybody who's unaware, you have to become a member. I think a membership's about £30 a year. So you give the club £30 a year to become a member, which ultimately you don't get any benefits from it other than it then allows you to get onto the website and buy tickets. So it's ultimately a scam, really, to be completely honest with you. You don't actually get anything from it, but other than the ability to buy tickets. So they've got apparently over 400,000 people who subscribe to this membership, which allows them to buy tickets. And that brings in alone about £12 million a season just off those people. So yeah, it's crazy. Apparently the mega store, obviously underneath Old Trafford where all the merch is, apparently that was record sales at the end of last season as well in the last quarter. So financially, we're doing well in the sense of generating money. The problem we have is that because of our high wage bill, because of our inability to sell players, that's why our financial fair play situation is where it is. From an actual revenue perspective, we're making more and more money each year, but obviously they've changed the rules around financial fair play. It's not that we don't have the money. We have money to spend, but we're just unable to spend it because we're ultimately, we need to balance our books. We need to sell players. We need to get people off the wage bill and all the rest of it. So hopefully InEOS can kind of sort that out. And hopefully then that will mean that, going forward, we can be a bit more consistent in the transfer market and sell players and then buy players and sell players and buy players and not just, have all of these players sitting around on ridiculous wages, ultimately doing nothing. Somebody in the chat's asking about the training ground. Yes, we will talk about the training ground now. So the headline this morning is that apparently Manchester United are looking at getting rid of Carrington. And they are looking at golf courses in and around the Manchester area to build a whole new training ground. Obviously, at the moment, Carrington is way behind the rest. We know that. Jude Bellingham went there and left because he didn't think the facilities... I don't know if it's specifically because of the facilities, but, there was pictures of Jude Bellingham at Carrington with Sir Alex Ferguson, and ultimately he decided to go to Dortmund. There was pictures of, all of these players who went to Carrington to go round and have a tour, and, it ultimately isn't up to scratch. And, most of the other teams in the Premier League have better training facilities now. Until recently, the women's team didn't even have an area to train. They've only just in the last kind of month or so had an area where they have their own gym and all the rest of it. Like, it's embarrassing. We're way behind the rest. So things like this, I think, are little bits that most people are like, sack the manager and we'll win the league. I mean, for me personally, things like getting a new training ground, the best in the Premier League training ground, I think those are equally as important as who the manager is, because it all starts from the bottom. It's not just about a manager. All the manager does is go out and coach them. That's all they do. Okay? They have a philosophy, they have ideas, and they teach the players. But, if you have elite facilities, recovery, like, do you think it's a coincidence that we've got like the most injuries out of any club in the Premier League this season? We're supposed to be the biggest club in England, and we don't seem to be able to keep players fit. Is that because of poor staff? Is it because of poor facilities? I mean, all of these theories, I think, are valid. We probably don't have the best in class in the kind of physio areas anymore because we've had the same people for like 10 plus years. We probably don't have the best facilities because we know we don't. Man City have better facilities. Arsenal do. Newcastle probably do now. We're way behind the rest. And I think a new training ground, what else have we got? Jay says, if we were to sack Erik ten Hag, who would you want to be the next coach? I mean, I said this on a video a couple of days ago. I think, if Erik ten Hag was to go and you were to stick with most of these players, to stick with the Rashfords, the Brunos, the McTominays, the Maguires, I genuinely think Diego Simeone would probably be the best person to work with this current set of players. Because Diego Simeone is he's a very reserved style of football. It's very defensive. It's very pragmatic. It's more counter-attacking. And I think that he would suit it perfectly. He's never going to come, but he would probably be, the best suit for our current players. If we're going to completely get rid of all of the people in our team, and start from the beginning, then I don't know. I think you could pretty much have anybody. Like, not. I don't mean we'd get any. I don't mean we should look at anybody, but I mean the options are more open. Because I think the most important thing that you have to look at other football clubs. When Brighton lost Potter, they brought in a manager who played exactly the same style of football because that's the style of football that Brighton have identified themselves as playing as. At the moment, the style of football that we're known for, whether you like it or not, is park the bus, counter-attacking football. It was like that under Mourinho. It was like that under Ole. Ralph Rangnick obviously was only here for a short period of time. He tried to play, his Gegan press style football, and it obviously didn't work, and he reverted back to park the bus. For the last 10 years, we've been a counter-attacking side, realistically. That's the reality of it. We sit deep, we hit them on the counter-attack, and we were quite successful doing that. Now, either InEOS come in and say, that's been kind of working, let's completely focus on that idea. Let's bring in the best manager in the world who's good at that. And that would be someone like Simeone. Obviously, Mourinho used to be the best of that kind of style. Bring in someone like that, and then that would be the way forward. But me personally, that doesn't excite me. I want to see fast, possession-based, not fast then necessarily, possession-based, dominating the opponents. And I'll say it one more time. I don't think that this squad of players are capable of doing that. They haven't been capable of doing that for 10 years. And some people in this fan base expect Erik ten Hag to come to this team and to turn Christian Eriksen into prime Rodri. They expect Johnny Evans, who's played most of our games this season at the age of 36, to turn into prime Sergio Ramos or prime Van Dijk, and are asking for the manager's head when that's not happening. They're expecting our fullbacks, who've been here for God knows how long, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, to be able to immediately be able to play the style of football that Erik ten Hag wants to do, even though for the last 5 or 6 years they've been playing park the bus counter-attacking football. Like, it will take time. And you know what? Some of these players might never be able to play that style of football. Eriksen at the age of 32 is not going to suddenly become Rodri, is he? Johnny Evans at the age of 36 is not going to suddenly become prime Van Dijk or Sergio Ramos. Like, and that's where we are. You know, same with Martial, same with Rashford, same with Bruno. Like, I think a lot of these players who've been here a long time are so used to that style of play that either you get rid of them, you start again, or you stick with them and you bring in a manager who complements their style of play. But ultimately doing that is letting the players win again. And I don't want to do that. I want, a clean slate. Right, let's talk about transfers really quickly before I wrap up the video. Obviously, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section. I always read them all, so have a quick look. Obviously, the big headline this morning is that Alvaro Fernandez has moved to Benfica. That's been confirmed. It's a loan deal to the end of the season. Apparently, if he plays more than 50% of Benfica's games, then they will have to buy him in the summer for £5 million, which sounds like not very much money to me. United have a buyback clause. And all the rest of it. So in some ways, it makes sense. You send him off. If he flops, then you've got 5 million and it doesn't matter. If he turns into a successful player in the future, then we can buy him back further down the line. So it's pretty difficult to argue with that, really. He was never going to get any opportunities at United. So obviously all the best to Alvaro Fernandez. Going to Benfica, I can't think of a better club for him to go and learn his craft and to hopefully flourish into a world-class player. But yeah, he is gone. What else have we got? Pellistri is on the brink of moving to Granada on loan. Amad Diallo is one that's interesting. There is talk this morning that Amad might leave on loan as well. So it could be Amad gone, Pellistri going, and Alvaro Fernandez going. And obviously Hannibal's gone as well. Like, all of the youth could be on the way out, which I find a little bit strange personally, but we have to trust that, we just have to trust what's going on, really, for the time being. The final one that's circulating this morning is that apparently Martial has rejected an offer from Fenerbahce. He's also apparently wanted by Galatasaray, who are willing to sign him for a small fee. I don't think Martial's going anywhere. I can't see Martial going to Turkey. I think he's going to wait until the summer. I think he thinks a bigger club will come in. I think he's got these expectations, Anthony Martial, that he's kind of better than he is. And that's just the reality where we live. Al in the chat's upset about Alvaro Fernandez going. That's fine. Laston says, Erik ten Hag is mediocre to say the least. He has no plan at all. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, it's hard to argue with that at the moment. I mean, last season, though, again, I'll go back to this. 6 months ago, I assume 95% of you watching today would have said Erik ten Hag is amazing. We've just won a trophy. We're third in the table. We got to an FA Cup final. I'm sure you were all saying that we were going to win the league this season. I did a poll, actually. Let me have a quick look, because I think that, I'm not trying to do like a I told you so type thing, but I think people forget quite quickly, So we did a poll at the beginning of the season, right? I mean, it's quite interesting, actually. So we did a poll before the season started, and 38% of you thought that we wouldn't get top 4 this season. That was the highest percentage. Over 5,000 people voted, and 38% said that we wouldn't get top 4. 18% said we'd get 4th. 12% said we'd get 3rd. 16 said we'd get 2nd, and 16 said we'd win the league. So 38% of you before the season even started thought we wouldn't get top 4 this season. I mean, that's really, really interesting, and I think that that's something we need to kind of remember, that most people genuinely thought we weren't going to get top 4 this season. So I'm not saying that it makes it okay. I'm just saying we have to be realistic here. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I will be back live at about 6 p.m. this evening, as always. Please make sure to smash a like before you go. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Have a good day, everybody. I'll speak to you all later. Speak soon.